How can you come to a wet fit and don't expect for you to get wet? You don't know it's blows you go get. You watching SAT TV.
Bring up the reading, SAT Telecoms.
Welcome to SAT TV News. I'm Alicia George, your presenter. In our top stories, Black Sigatoka, still a major problem, says top official. Trinidad and Tobago records more than 2,500 teenage pregnancies annually. More than 1,100 migrants rescued off Italy in one day. And in sports, Trinidad and Tobago defeats Leeward Islands in Nagico Super 50 match. Details of these will follow.
Nobody can love it the way I do. I'm with you, my yori yori. With you, everything is welly welly. Your love, they make my heart to do yori yori. Nobody can love it the way I do. I'm with you, my yori. What's up? My name is Vas.
And this is Mesh.
And we are Brackets.
And you're watching SAT TV. Don't miss it, because if you miss it,
You will lose it.
Brackets say so.
One love, everybody.
How can you come to a wet fit and don't expect for you to get wet? You don't know it's blows you go get. You watching SAT TV.
Welcome back. The DSWMC, Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation, in an effort to continue keeping Dominica clean and green, on Wednesday, February 5th, 2014, launched a new recycling program. This will involve the collection of recyclables on the Atlantic side of Dominica, which will enhance its 3 hours campaign strategy for reducing, reusing, and recycling.
This program come about as a result of a grant from the Embassy of Japan in Trinidad and Tobago, geared towards the collection of recyclable waste on the island. The corporation is trying to enhance its strategy of reduce, reuse, recycle, the 3 hour campaign. And what this truck would do is help us into collecting the separate recyclable waste. So we'll be asking the residents in certain areas of the country to start separating the waste, and we're going to have different days for collection of that waste.
He noted the corporation is also looking to expand the program to the schools, of which 80% will be targeted, a combination of secondary and primary schools. This will allow them to be educated not only in the separation of waste, but to practice waste management. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Mrs. Helen Royer, expressed her gratitude towards the Embassy of Japan for the donation of the compactor trucks.
This for us today is very timely and extremely needful, since we have no doubt that it will enhance the collection service and waste management on the island, especially in the communities where collection is done on a fortnightly basis. It is the corporation's plan to improve the collection of recyclable waste, including tins, plastics, and bottles, which serves as breeding grounds for mosquitoes. And we know also that reducing the amount of waste we produce is the best way to help our environment, hence the valuable importance of this truck. We also anticipate further assistance in obtaining another truck from the government of Dominica, which will augment the work already in progress.
She added the Ministry of Health intends to take all precautionary measures to prevent the spread of diseases, including chikungunya, leptospirosis, and dengue, which will continue to pose a threat to the health of our population. Fleet and Collections Manager of the DSWMC, Mr. Florian Michel, noted recycling is the way forward and we all need to get on board.
What we're seeking to do is the first day, let's say on a first day, for example in Penville, that truck would go, then they would pick up general waste. The next first day, we'd have another vehicle picking up or collecting or recycled material. And what we're trying to initiate, we all hear they talk about waste management, and what we're seeking to put in place is to get a bag system, to merge it with a bag system. So when the vehicle comes to, let's say, whatever the areas, let's say Kalibishi for example, to collect general waste, we'd be asking the resident to place their general waste in black or yellow bags. On the day for recycling, we'd ask the general public now to put clear bags or white bags for the collection of said material. And this would just be a model. And as the reason why we use those areas because the people are already used to putting out garbage on a fortnightly basis. And recyclable material is generally collected on a fortnightly basis. So we're hoping to start with those communities, and as it begins to, we'll see how it progresses, and then we are actually going to implement that system on the island.
Some communities primarily involved in this new recycling program include, but are not limited to, Campbell, Monrachet, Penville, Bakers, Tibu, Paybush, Kalibishi, Woodford Hill, Wesley, Kalinago Territory, Casa Bruce, Bells, La Plaine, and Grand Fond. The corporation will make some clear bags to be used for recycling made available at the Roseau City Council for purchase. The truck, which costs $72,000 US, will solely be used for collecting the recyclable garbage. The program is expected to commence on Monday, February 10th, 2014. In related news, member of the Board of Directors of the DSWMC, Mr. Ronald Mitchell, says seeing the corporation launching a new recycling program is a dream come true for him. Mr. Mitchell, who became a board member in the year 2000, witnessing the entire operations of the corporation being built, said his dream was always to see recycling in Dominica.
In Canada, garbage is, in the city of Toronto, I would say, the garbage is picked up once every 2 weeks. Recycling bins are larger than garbage bins because people have learned how to control their waste. We've done a big job covering the whole island. It becomes harder and harder. Barbados is flat, Dominica is hilly. You look at a high consumption of fuel, hard on the trucks and all of that. So we, as Dominicans, I think the most important thing is, I always say, I use this as a measure. You go to the store, you buy a piece of meat, make sure that you probably leave the bones, because the bones go out, or buy what you can use. And I think that's what it is.
He said it is important that we all take recycling seriously, as this will reduce the amount of waste that goes to the landfill. Mr. Mitchell is also urging the public to refrain from using styrofoam items as much as possible by replacing them with reusable products.
So it's us. We can provide all the trucks, we can provide all the hard work, and the cost goes up. But if we, as the people of Dominica, do not control how we waste. This year in the grade year, I was trying to write a calypso about the gutter. Poor gutter is crying because we throw things in the gutter. So we have to get more people to pick them up. In Canada, you'll go out, you find that your pocket is full when you come home because you're afraid to put it on the floor. We haven't reached that draconian way of charging people. So I think with greatness that we've got this new truck and hoping to see more of it, it will be more of a recyclable world that we have, because keeping it clean starts with us.
He added, we are all responsible for the environment, which starts from our homes, adding, we need to properly store our waste if and when the garbage truck misses a day for pickup. In other news, 3 more National Queen contestants were sashed on Wednesday, February 5th during the Mass Dominic weekly press conference. Miss Joelle Brown, Octavia Prosper, and Royette Laurent are now relieved of seeking full sponsorship after they were partly funded and sashed with the name of their sponsor. Sales and Marketing Manager of Petro Caribe, Mr. Ian Pinard, says He is happy to be sponsoring these 3 young ladies, noting it is a first for the company.
I want to say that PetroCaribe is happy to partner again with DFC, with Nathalie. We're happy to come on board in a big way to ensure that MAS 2014 is big and tremendous. We have been taking part in Carnival for a few years now, and so far we have spent maybe close to $250,000 for the past 3-4 years.
PetroCaribe has also come on board to part sponsor 2 young ladies in the Mother's Queen Show, the Teenage Pageant, and the Match Jamboree at the Dominica State College. Meanwhile, entertainer and promoter Mr. Val Coffey encouraged patrons to come on board and celebrate a peaceful carnival.
If you have not been here for a while, if you're in China and you're just returned from China and you have not seen a carnival in a big way, do like Daryl Titt, join a band, get ready to be part of it. If you have been in other countries, and just enjoy yourself, because Dominica Carnival is spontaneous, but be at the best behavior because we want you to enjoy yourself positively.
The 3 joined Miss Scotiabank, Donella Riviere, and Miss Dominica National Petroleum Company, Torrance Dorset. In more stories, the fight against Black Sigatoka appears to be slipping through the grips of the relevant officials in Dominica. As one senior official says, humans are causing the disease to spread at a rapid rate, triggering a significant disadvantage to the Ministry of Agriculture. Head of the Plant Quarantine Office, Mr. Ryan Anselm, says this invasive species is causing havoc on our banana and plantain industry, as its 2 crops contribute significantly to the gross domestic product, in addition to providing employment for several individuals.
We have put programs in place. We have an action plan that we are following, and some of the farmers have played a significant role in containing the disease, but some of the farmers are still aiding in the movement of planting material and the spread of the diseases. We have attempted to contain the disease from spreading to the northeast. Presently, the disease has entered the northeast in the heights of Marigot, Wesley, and Woodfordale, and some part of Calibishi. So we can clearly see that Black Sigatoka is island-wide. And what we have done is put a management system in place. The task force has met, and we have reviewed our management plan for how we're going to manage Black Sigatoka.
He said that the Ministry of Agriculture has received resources from the BAM Banana Accompanying Measures of EC $2.2 million to aid in the management of Black Sigatoka. This will be used to provide the necessary nutrition and fertilizer that will help the plantain and banana boost its system to fight the disease.
And we are urging the farmers to do the necessary de-leafing, sanitation. As we always say, the chemical application is not the number one measure. It is an integrated pest management system approach that we have to take. We talk about sanitation, which the farmers has to de-leaf on time, and the elimination of abandoned fields. So again, the system really is to reduce the inoculation of the disease, eliminate the abandoned fields, de-leaf and do the necessary weed control, other pests like take care of the weevils and the borers and the nematodes that will prevent the plant from taking up the nutrition successfully.
He said farmers need to refrain from moving planting material from one place to another, further spreading the disease. Mr. Anselm stated the Ministry of Agriculture will continue to work on the implementation of systems to better manage the disease.
One of our strategies that we're moving forward is we're going to introduce resistant varieties. We have successfully assessed 3 varieties from the CIRAD institution. CIRAD is a research and scientific institution from Guadeloupe and Martinique. They do extensive research in banana and plantain. We are also working with FAO and a well-known banana expert from Cuba in assisting us in looking at the management of Black Sigatoka and to bring in resistant varieties. So the program, again, is a holistic one. It's not only putting a knapsack on your back and spraying with a fungicide, It's really an integrated one where we look at nutrition, sanitation, resistant varieties, and again the whole aspect of deleafing and elimination of the abandoned fields.
According to him, farmers need to use all alternative materials other than the leaves of plantain and banana trees to cushion their produce, as this also aids in the spread of black sigatoka. In other news, a few changes have been made ahead of the opening day parade expected to be held on Saturday, February 7, 2014. According to Mrs. Charlene Christian White, a member of the Road Parade Committee, anyone taking part in the road parade must assemble at 1:30 p.m. around the Pottersville Savannah.
We are asking you to assemble from Pottersville Savannah along Goodwill Road and E.H. Charles near to all the way down to the Public Works Department entrance. Now we are asking all the contestants like queens, princesses and so forth to assemble as close as possible to the Pottersville Savannah.
Instead of the parade beginning with the usual Old Mass group, this year the contestants will open the parade, led by the reigning queen and king.
Now the parade route will move southwards along Goodwill Road, across the Isilo Black Bridge, south along Independence Street, westwards along King George V Street. You will turn southwards a little south along Old Street, then proceed northwards along the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard.
No music systems will be allowed on the bayfront.
So what is going to happen this year is when we have gotten the queen contestants and so on to the bayfront, these are the only vehicles that will be allowed to enter the bayfront. And the music systems will be stopped, and on the bayfront we will have about 2 to 3 posts. We'll have a band, most likely, probably, or hi-fi on the stage, so they will continue to feed the revelers' music. We'll have one placed somewhere close to the Garaway Hotel, and we will also have one placed close to the bank and the old post office area.
The Old Mass group is expected to perform on the bayfront this year. Spectators are asked to stand to the side and allow the groups to display their tributes. A record-breaking 14 school bands and floats, 6 Old Mass groups, 5 cheerleading groups, 6 corporate business floats, and 7 small advertising floats will be displayed this year. Registration is still opened.
There will be marshals and volunteers as well as road parade committee members on the road. Will be able to be identified with our t-shirts. We are asking each of the groups who are registered to submit a detailed 50-word maximum description of your decorated entry. That the sponsors who have their floats and who are also sponsoring queen contestants, princesses, whatever it is, we have this nice thing in Dominica. We like to expect a sweetie or a pencil or whatever it is. This year, this will not be allowed. We are asking people not to send anything from any vehicle. What we are asking you to do is to have a detail. So if you have your contestant, let your contestant sit nicely and have 1 or 2 people walking alongside your float, and these people will hand over the item.
Media hubs will be provided for media personnel. Offensive language, lyrics, or nudity or gestures are strongly discouraged. Additionally, floats should not exceed 13.5 feet from the ground, and persons wanting to bring animals into the parade must be registered with the Dominica Festivals Committee. In related news, Carnival promoter and entertainer Mr. Val Youngbo Coffee says he would like to see Dominica as a country put cameras on the entire Carnival route. Mr. Coffee made this bold request at the recently held Mass Dominic weekly press conference following an address by Managing Director of Platinum Security Inc., Mr. Kimo Astafans, on the strategies put in place to ensure safety in the bands.
As a country, put cameras on the entire Carnival route. So if Kimo has cameras in Dominica now, it'll be instructed from the Ministry of Tourism and the DDA and the DFC, my tongue is mine and I speak my mind, that they get some resources available and contact Kimo Astafan and say, well, seeing that we have had some even unfortunate incidents over the years, let us put these high-definition cameras at strategic locations along the Carnival route.
Mr. Coffey believes this implementation would make visitors and locals alike feel more secure.
So not only Line Band will be secure, but the overall Carnival. So I think if we sit down and we look at the numbers, crunch it wisely, probably some private sector firms could come in as well and see if they can make some contributions. But it'd be good for the government to look at that, you know, and to see how best we could have a nice carnival. Because we're bringing people over there to Dominica and they're flying in. We want them to know our route is very secure. The police will have additional security measures that they can engage in. So
he asked also that persons be safe and productive during the season.
It doesn't make sense that you're working at a bank or you're a nurse and for 2 days you suddenly strip yourself naked of all your values. The DFC wants you to keep your values. Enjoy your mass space. Be yourself. Join a band. Revel in a positive way. Leave your knives, leave your guns, leave everything at home and come and have a good time.
In more news, Superintendent of Police Mr. David Andrew is advising that traffic regulations be taken seriously, particularly during the festivities. He addressed the issues of traffic diversion, no parking, no entries, and relocation of bus stops, stating a robust law enforcement approach will be adopted.
The general public are advised that vehicles traveling south along the E.O. Leblanc Highway will be diverted into Rawls Lane from Public Works Junction. Vehicles traveling west along Charles Avenue, that is coming from the hospital, will turn north or right onto Rawls Lane and keep left, and they will exit around the Public Works.
Vehicles traveling north along Victoria Street should turn right into High Street alongside DBS Radio.
No parking of vehicles shall be permitted on either side of the following roads from Saturday the 8th, 2014. On the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard, no parking on either side from 8 a.m. That portion of Goodwill Road from its intersection with the Portersville Savannah and Stibber Street from 11 a.m. no parking. On E.O. Leblanc Highway from the intersection of Rawls Lane to Goodwill Road, no parking from 11 a.m.
No parking is permitted from 11 a.m. along the portion of Goodwill Road from the intersection with Federation Drive and the E.C. Low Black Bridge. None is permitted on King George V Street from the intersection of Independence Street and the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard from 11 a.m. The no parking zone will extend to the portion of Independence Street to the E.C. Low Black Bridge through to the intersection with King George V Street and from Old Street southwards from the intersection of King George V Street and Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard, where there will be no parking from 11 a.m. In addition, no parking will be permitted from 11 a.m. neither on Rawls Lane and Leblanc Lane nor on Charles Avenue.
From the intersection of Hillsborough Street and Hanover Street to the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard, there shall be a no entry. Northwards on Victoria Street from its junction with High Street, because we said we are taking a right once we get there traveling north on that street, so there will be a no entry right at the junction there by DBS Radio. From the intersection of Cork Street and Hanover Street to the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard, there will be a no entry. From Fort Young Hotel roundabout to Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard, of course from the roundabout there will be no entry.
On the E.O. Leblanc Highway, from the intersections of Rawls Lane and Charles Avenue, in the vicinity of the Aid Bank, there will be no entry permitted. Mr. Andrew asked that everyone adhere to the signs being put in place.
The Soufriere and Point Michel bus stop will be relocated to Virgin Lane between Cross and Independence Street from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
All measures put in place are in an effort to reduce delays and traffic congestion, as violation of these regulations will not be tolerated. And in court news, 40-year-old Reginald Edward Amore of Portsmouth, 51-year-old Vaughn Nonoleta of Sharford, 25-year-old Lee Anthony of Soufriere, and 38-year-old Maxo Germain of Kingshill have all been fined for drug possession. The men all pleaded guilty to the possession of cannabis at the Magistrates Court on Monday, February 3, 2014. They were arrested and charged at the home of Leta while police executed a search warrant on his Shalford premises on 31st January 2014. Attorney Tiani B. Hansen, who represented all 4 defendants, said Leta suffers from high blood pressure and uses the cannabis as medication. B. Hansen requested that a suspended sentence be given to Amor, who was the only first-time offender among the 4. Amor did not receive a suspended sentence but was fined $300, payable by 3rd March 2014, or 1 week in prison in default. Jermaine was fined $400 and Anthony $600, both to be paid by 3rd March 2014, or 1 week in prison. Leta received a $1,000 fine, also payable by 3rd March 2014, or 1 month in default. Amor, Leta, and Anthony, along with a Venezuelan national, Luis Jose Valeza Indriego, were also jointly charged with possession of cannabis and each pleaded not guilty. That charge was later withdrawn by the prosecution. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.